All right, guys. So one of my biggest pet peeves in politics is money in politics and how money influences these politicians and how they use their positions of power to enrich themselves. All too often, we see politicians go into Congress poor, right? They make $170-some thousand a year. Over the course of just a few years, all of a sudden they are millionaires. Okay, some of them are tens of millions of naires. Okay, for example, like Nancy Pelosi, who has been in Congress since the Stone Ages, right? And throughout that time, Nancy Pelosi and her husband have built a reputation for being incredible investors, right? I mean, I'm talking about they are actually really incredible investors. They should actually open their own hedge fund, right? That's how good they are at investing. Okay, and again, I find it, very strange how Nancy Pelosi, whom would have quote unquote inside information about what Congress is doing and how it's going to affect these companies, I find it strange how her and her husband are placing these trades that always seem to work out. Okay, and guys, these are leverage trades. Okay, they are trading options. They're not just taking an equity position, right, in a company. They're not just buying the stock and holding. That's not what it is, right? They are basically betting on companies. Okay, and when you bet on companies with options, the potential for gains is much larger, but also the risks are much larger as well, as you basically can lose all your money. Okay, so there was a story that came out and about Nancy Pelosi's recent trades that, again, is highly coincidental, but I think it's worth talking about. And the reason why is because this happens on both sides. I'm focusing on Pelosi, but it's not just Pelosi. I mean, last year, Kelly Loeffler and Richard Burr were caught dumping their stocks based off inside information, right, that they received about the coronavirus before the public knew what was going to happen. Okay, so they basically knew that the country was going to shut down and that we was going to go through this, and they dumped all their stock. Now, nothing happened to them, right? Nothing happened to them at all. And like I said, this happens on both sides. So I'm calling it out on both sides, okay? But Pelosi here is specific target because she is the one that would know mostly everything. And again, we're going to focus here on a few trades that she's made that are highly suspicious, as Pelosi's husband locked in $5.3 million from Alphabet options. Now, this comes just 1 week before the House Judiciary Committee was going to consider some antitrust bills, right, targeting big tech. Okay, there actually legislation going on in Congress in which they're trying to rein in the power of big tech. Believe it or not, right? That is what is being considered in Congress right now. And Nancy Pelosi and her husband have essentially made some strange trades before the consideration of this bill. So let's read a little bit here. Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, won big on Alphabet Inc. stock and added bets on Amazon Inc. and Apple in the weeks leading up to the House Judiciary Committee's vote on antitrust legislation that seeks to severely limit how these companies organize and offer their products. In a financial disclosure signed by Nancy Pelosi July 2nd, her husband reported exercising call options to acquire 4,000 shares of Alphabet, the parent company of Google, at a strike price of $1,200. The trade netted him $4.8 million gain, and it's risen to $5.3 million since then as the shares have jumped. The transaction was completed just a week before the House Judiciary Committee advanced 6 bipartisan antitrust bills, 4 of which take aim at Google, Amazon, Apple, and Facebook. Market reaction was muted, suggesting that investors don't see the House proposals as a real threat to the companies. Alphabet's share price has increased 3.2% since the Judiciary panel approved the legislation. Okay, so here's the funny part, guys. 2 weeks ago, Apple CEO and a bunch of these tech CEOs called up Nancy Pelosi and was like, yo, this bill that you're trying to pass, we got to talk about this. We don't agree with all this. And Nancy Pelosi's response was, okay, what specific policies don't you agree with? What don't you like, Tim? Why don't you like Tim Cook? We can work it out for you, because, again, these people are bought and sold, right? So when the actual information about what's in the bill comes out, lo and behold, instead of these stocks tanking, which you would think that's what would happen in a situation like that, where it looks like Congress is going to try to rein in the power of big tech, you would think that the stocks would fall. They actually go up because the bill is toothless, right? It's a toothless bill. So stock prices rise because investors are like, this ain't really anything. Okay. And again, if you think that those phone calls from the big tech CEOs didn't have anything to do with this bill being toothless, I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't know what to tell you. So let's read a little bit more here because it gets a little bit more strange. Paul Pelosi on May 21st also bought 20 call options for Amazon with a strike price of $3,000, expiring in June 22, suggesting that he expects the online retailer to continue its gains. He also bet on Apple purchasing 50 call options with the same expiration date at a strike price of $100. The speaker has no involvement or prior knowledge in these transactions, her spokesperson Drew Hamill said in an email statement on Wednesday, adding that Speaker Pelosi doesn't own any stock. Okay. Right. Okay, that's what they're saying. But we do have Unusual Whales here on Twitter who does some good work tracking unusual whales, right? Unusual trades, right? People making money off of unusual trades. And Nancy Pelosi is one of these people that seems to be doing very well. Okay, because listen to this, guys. Nancy Pelosi, right? I mentioned she bought Apple and Amazon stock options. With Amazon stock, now keep in mind, these was bought in May, right? And it was just announced that the Pentagon is canceling its Jedi contract, okay, that was initially, I believe, won by Microsoft, that Amazon was also bidding on. But Amazon took issue with that, right? It was like, oh, this isn't fair. This is what tech companies do when they lose contracts. So what happens is that the government says, okay, I know you're upset that you didn't get it. So guess what? We'll just do a new contract. We'll do a new program. We'll do a new contract and we'll let you bid on it again. And you can potentially get billions of dollars. So that happens, right? Okay, we're talking about billions of dollars here. And Amazon's stock price shoots up, right? They bought these options back in May. And speaking of Microsoft, apparently, Paul Pelosi exercised call options on Microsoft as well, $10 million worth, right? And this was right before Microsoft won a government contract, right? Another government contract. Shares jumped up 11% since they did this back in April, right? Come on. Come on. Guys, this is similar to what happened when Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, their space companies, were fighting over getting tens of billions of dollars, right, in a NASA contract, in the Endless Frontier bill. When Jeff Bezos, who lobbies the government, pays hundreds of thousands of dollars to the government to lobby them, basically said, listen, we paying y'all all this money. We about to get a return on our investment here. And guess what? Congress goes back and they say, all right, we'll add in a new contract. We'll give NASA some more money so that Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' space company, can, you know, y'all can have a chance to get some of this corporate socialism. Guys, I'm telling you, this stuff is crazy, man. Okay, that's not all. She also bought NVIDIA, which is a American semiconductor company. Okay, now she bought that pre-stock split, right? And generally speaking, I mean, stock splits, they do kind of lead to an increase in price because investors who don't really know what they're doing, they think that the stock is cheaper because the stock split, when it is actually not, right? It's not cheaper. So people tend to buy more of it, okay, because the share price is lower because they've essentially split the shares. So they benefit from that. And then also on top of that, if you guys remember, back in June, the Senate passed the Frontier Act, right? The Endless Frontier Act, which is supposed to be Congress's attempt, or the Biden administration's attempt, to fight China, right? Specifically, there's funds in there that are appropriated for bolstering U.S. semiconductor manufacturing. Okay, there's over $50 billion available for that. NVIDIA is one of those companies that's going to benefit from that, right? And NVIDIA's stock price has went crazy the last few weeks, right? So, like I said, guys, Nancy Pelosi and her husband, I'm not accusing them of insider trading. I'm just saying, I find it a strange coincidence how they are just winning on all these trades, right? They're just winning. Okay, I mean, look at her returns, guys. Her current 1-year return since June 2020 to June 2021 is 56%. 56%. She's beaten the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones by 20%. By 20%. Okay? Like, this is the returns that Pelosi is getting off of her options, over 60%. Off of her stocks, over 40%. Her average return is 56%. She is destroying the market. Okay? There are hedge funds and asset managers. I'm talking about very talented people out there that are not getting returns like this. But for whatever reason, Nancy Pelosi or her husband, hey, they're killing it, man. They're killing it. Like I said, they need to start their own firm. They really do. In all fairness, a lot of this stuff is public information. However, again, I just find it highly coincidental that this stuff is not revealed to a later date. Okay, even though it is public, it's not revealed to a later date that Nancy Pelosi made these trades. And I just don't like the fact that Congress is able to do this. I don't like the fact that they're able to buy options. And I really don't even like the fact they're able to buy individual stocks in their portfolios. I think that these Congress people should only be allowed to buy index funds. They should only be allowed to buy broad market indexes. That's the only thing they should be allowed to buy. And it's really a damn shame that they're still allowed to do this, to make millions off of information that potentially only they have, right? Or put it this way, they're very much more aware of this information than the average American citizen, or probably even the average person on Wall Street would be. Okay? Nancy Pelosi being the Speaker of the House, being third in line to be president, you think that she doesn't know what's going on? You think that she doesn't know the agenda in terms of what's coming up, what is likely to pass, what's not likely to pass, the details of the bill in terms of, okay, does this legislation have teeth? Does it not? Of course she knows. And again, there's no way to prove that her husband is benefiting from that, but that's her husband. I mean, I would find it mighty strange that they're not talking about money or what's going on in Congress. Okay? So, I don't know, man. But like I said, term limits and not allowing them to trade individual stocks and options, that has to happen, right? But we know it won't, because these politicians are corrupt. They just are, right? They're in it for themselves, and a lot of them are using their positions of power to make millions while the American people get crumbs. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.